And it does have some repeating stuff too, and all the repeating stuff there is just cool and just keeps being cool, and that's the nice thing about it. You don't shop on the happy side and wish you could go to the customer service desk and return something ever, you know, which on the dark side, you're constantly wanting to return it. You're constantly wanting to be like, no, I don't want it. Why am I, oh, here it is. What did I get that? I don't want that, you know. It's very dissatisfying. So that is a good game to play just to get in touch with what feelings you're choosing in the morning, because we're all choosing our feelings, and we may be in a habit, a long-term habit, even a deep pattern of constantly choosing depression. I did that. I was in that pattern. But because we, as human beings, you know, we can see patterns, and we can break patterns down, we can discard patterns, we can interrupt patterns, analyze patterns. It's in our makeup. We can see and analyze and change patterns if we want to, and that's all it is. It's a pattern. And if we tell ourselves, you know, I'm in this pattern of getting up and choosing, you know, I go straight for the rejection aisle every morning without even thinking. I wake up, there I am on that aisle. I'm getting rejected by somebody, or I'm feeling rejected by something from the past, or I'm rejecting myself if I can't find somebody else to do it for me. You know, if we feel like we've been doing that over and over again and we can't stop, it's much simpler if we let ourselves know, I'm just in a pattern of choosing that. And I can choose something different. Because if we identify with it too much, which a lot of times when we have a habituated pattern, we have an addiction, we totally identify so deeply with the addiction. When I was addicted to anger, I thought I was an angry person. You know, I thought I was just a messed up person. And let me tell you, that's a really crappy way to feel. So it's a double dose of yuck. And I just know, because I'm a human, that it isn't anything special in me, that I can come to realize that that's not my identity. That's a habit I formed. And after many, many years of repeating, I formed a deep habit. So changing the habit is going to take some focus and some time, and the old pattern is going to repeat, and it's going to come up, and it's going to come up a lot at first. If it's a deep pattern, it's going to come up a lot at first. When I first started trying to stop using anger and trying to stop using arrogance and fear, I failed every time. I failed every time, because what I didn't realize is that there is a beginning momentum when you go to change a pattern like that, when you go to change a deep set pattern, a way of looking at the world. I look at the world through anger, sorrow, and rejection every time. You know, when you get in that deep of a habit, when you first go to stop, you're going to feel how deep it is. You know, this is a common experience for all humans. When we go to change a pattern, we run right into the momentum of it. It's like a shock to our system, how much we're thinking about the thing that we're trying to change, how it just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. In the beginning, when we're in that first phase of changing, I think it helps to acknowledge to ourselves that the old thing is going to come up a lot, and with a large influence on us. It's kind of like you're trying to shift your focus, and you don't want to think of the name Sparky. And this whole time that you're like, okay, I'm not going to be thinking about Sparky anymore. Sick of thinking about Sparky. No more Sparky. You're just walking around in your environment and everything is a trigger and everything is sparky, 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 sparky. And you're sitting there and you're like, I'm really trying not to think about Sparky anymore, you know, and I don't like this, and you know, and then you get caught up in it and you're like, oh, Sparky, and that's all you're thinking about, you know. And it is helpful to know that there are things you can do by using words and just talking to yourself to get through that first phase that can last. It can last a long time. It can last weeks if it's short. It can last months. It can last a really long time, that first phase, where every single day you get up and you think about the thing you're addicted to, or the feeling, or the pattern. And it can last a really long time, but what can shorten it, because what you're dealing with is a pattern, and all patterns have, you know, order and rules, and they follow those rules. And because you can interrupt a pattern, the best tool I found in the beginning is just to interrupt that pattern. Interrupt it and stop it. You know, so you have to go back to the Sparky thing and think, if something's going to be constantly saying, Sparky, 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 oh Sparky, did you think of Sparky? Oh Sparky, 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 all day long Sparky. If something's going to be doing that, you know that you have to have a certain level of focus to get through that first phase of change, and you've got to be able to think of something else. So I'm getting ready to do the obnoxious Sparky thing again and just say Sparky, 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 and I want you to think of anything but Sparky. I want you to take your mind and focus it away and not think Sparky, while I sit here and say, Sparky, 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 oh Sparky, Sparky, Sparky. Did I tell you about Sparky? Oh Sparky, Sparky, Sparky. It is that obnoxious. It is. And that's what we're dealing with in the beginning, in that beginning phase of changing. But over time, if we will just interrupt whatever you did to make yourself not think of the word Sparky, it's that same type of thing. You stop the pattern and you interrupt it, and that gives you a break right there where you can go to that bridge we were talking about, instead of trying to jump from one extreme feeling to another, like from one side of the expression store clear over to the other side. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool to be able to do that. But it's easier if, once we've interrupted the pattern, to get a hold of ourselves right there, find those words that calm you down, that give you a real sense of appreciation or an actual feeling of confidence, like, I can do this. You know, even if it's just those words, I can do this. You know, even if it's just counting to 3. 1, 2, 3. You have successfully broken the pattern as soon as you shift your attention away from Sparky. Doesn't matter. You've broken the pattern. And what that will do is, those feelings, if you notice that they come in waves, they peak and you feel like, you're really being triggered and stuff. You know, and then it kind of eases out. It peaks and then it kind of eases out. So it comes in waves. And if you can interrupt it, especially at a peak, and stop it, you can know that there's a kind of a wave of relief coming, and you can use that time to repeat the words to yourself that are making you feel better. Repeat the words to yourself that are getting you free of the thing that you don't want anymore. And then you can kind of start to make your way over to the other side, you know, into lighter feelings, into just a better feeling.